When it comes to most things in life, smaller is cuter, right? Well, with cats, that's probably not true, except can you be absolutely sure that your cat isn't planning an elaborate and distinctly psychotic scheme to take you down? I know mine is. So, these smaller cat breeds may be cute, but they're probably still psychopaths. From the luckiest cat in Japan to the baldest cat on the face of the earth, here are 20 of the smallest cat breeds in the world. But before we begin, make sure to subscribe to our channel and leave your like. Now, let's get started. Number 20. Rusty Spotted Cat. The rusty spotted cat is the smallest cat breed in the world. These tiny little furballs fit in the palm of your hand, but despite looking like forever kittens, these cats are so small that they appear to be babies even when fully grown. Found mainly in Sri Lanka and some areas of India, this wild cat is a solitary animal. They live in forests and venture into trees. Being predominantly nocturnal, the rusty spotted cat is an excellent climber that hunts on the ground at night and takes refuge in the relative safety of trees during the day. Like many other wild cats, despite their diminutive size, these cats are excellent predators and use ambush tactics to capture small mammals, birds, and amphibians, occasionally hunting domestic chickens or ducks. The only wild cat breed on our list today, the rusty spotted cat, is, unfortunately, an endangered species. Like many species at risk on our planet, its habitat has decreased in recent decades, putting this cat at risk of extinction unless protective measures are taken to prevent the continued decline of its population. Number 19. The Singapore cat. Cats come in all shapes and sizes, but this one is apparently the smallest of domestic cats. The tiny and mischievous kitten is the physical embodiment of a Japanese cartoon cat, definitely kawaii, with its enormously large eyes and tiny little head. What makes this feline stand out from the others on our list of the smallest cats? Well, these cuties weigh between 1.8 to 2.7 kilograms in females, and between 2.7 to 3.6 kilograms in males, who are a bit bigger. They have large ears compared to others, not to mention the huge dish-shaped eyes. Fans of these cats believe they have quite a strong personality as well and are likely super intelligent and energetic. Singapore cats can be interested in everything. Climbing and exploring are definitely their passions, but they are also prone to being a little nervous. They hate loud noises and, if they are especially stressed, they may become aggressive toward people. So, be careful. This cute exterior and small size don't mean they can't cause big mischief. Number 18. Munchkin. The name is a bit obvious, but I think these might be some small cats, don't you think? In a way they are. These cats can have very short legs, like the hilarious stubby legs, with a medium-sized body on top. Nothing special here, definitely not funny. In fact, the short legs of the Munchkin breed have been blamed for their characteristic movement, which is somewhat unflatteringly described as similar to that of a ferret. These cats, in fact, are mostly found in the United States, where this breed has been recognized since 1983, unlike other places in the world, where, despite the animal clearly existing, it is still not recognized as a specific breed. Strange, right? Having short legs doesn't mean you can't reach the highest shelves at the supermarket. For cats, a deficit in limbs can cause various other problems, especially with personal hygiene. Cats usually manage their own hygiene. I mean, have you seen the level of flexibility cats have? And honestly, we've all seen more than we'd like. But for the short-legged Munchkin, those hard-to-reach spots are harder to access with their tongue. So, if you decide to bring one of these cats home, you'll have to help with their hygiene. This breed needs a little pampering. Number 17. Cornish Rex Cat. Now, don't be fooled by the awkward appearance of this cat. The Cornish Rex isn't as big as it looks. It all depends on the angles, you know, like when you take a selfie, and from one side, you look like a giant, and from the other, a sex god. I do that every day. Well, this cat looks big, but it's actually super slim, depending on how you look at it. And I suppose, for the purposes of our list, slim is as good as small. An athletic and powerful cat, despite looking slim, the Cornish Rex is also kind of strange. It has an alien touch, with many legs and big ears, and a pointy face. They also apparently have the softest fur. However, they don't have the same type of fur as other cats. So, if you want to have one as a pet, you'll need to bathe it. That's right, as strange as it sounds, the Cornish Rex needs to be washed to prevent its unusual fur from becoming all gross and oily. And since they'll need a bath every week, you'd better hope your pet likes water because these beings are cats and, as we all know, that means they're planning your death every moment of the day. So, don't be fooled. They're psychotic and you know it. Number 16. Devon Rex Cat. Now, here's another cat that's not very different from the previous one, except this one is a little less eccentric. However, it has the same type of wavy fur and those big bat-like ears. The Devon Rex is slim, just like its cousin the Cornish Rex, but there are some differences. The soft and curly fur of the Devon Rex is extremely fragile, and these cats often have areas of their bodies without fur due to damage caused by their licking. It really is that delicate. The same happens with their whiskers, as this breed is often seen with broken whiskers. A sad sight considering how much cats usually rely on their whiskers for various functions, from measuring spaces to hunting. Just like the Cornish Rex, this breed is known for having what is euphemistically called a big personality, which can be interpreted as being a little difficult to handle. These cats love to jump and climb, and they get into all kinds of acrobatic adventures if given half a chance. So, if you bring one of them home, you'll certainly have your hands full. Number 15. American Curl. This breed has only existed for a few decades, making the American Curl one of the youngest cat breeds, but being new hasn't stopped it from becoming quite popular among cat lovers across the United States. It's easy to understand why. They're not strange or alien cats. In fact, they're cute, fluffy, and have curly ears that turn backward. Seriously, what's not to love about them? Due to how these cats were bred, they can come in various shapes and sizes. Depending on the other breeds, they may have crossed with the cat carrying the dominant curled ear gene. The whole pedigree breeding thing is strange and complicated, but as long as the cat recognized as an American Curl mates with a cat from a list of other approved breeds, the resulting kittens will have the dominant curled ear gene and can be officially recognized. How fun! Who said romance is dead? These cats are supposedly some of the friendliest of all, with their fans believing they even like children and actively seek human companionship, which is quite rare, as most cats seem to hate you all the time. In addition to this friendliness, these animals are also strangely trainable, with some even able to learn fetch. All this surprisingly friendly behavior surely puts the American Curl, a cat, above the rest. Number 14. Siamese Cat. These cats are famous for their elegance but infamously difficult to care for, and I'm not saying they need brushing. These cats have a strong personality and will let you know about it all day long, and probably at night as well. Among the fanciest and most pampered breeds, the Siamese cat has been spoiled for generations by those who have the time and patience to tolerate its extremely vocal chatter. These cats have been appreciated in their homeland, Thailand, for many centuries, and were enthusiastically welcomed in the West when they were introduced in the late 1800s. The Siamese may look beautiful, but they certainly make a sound that can be interpreted as opinionated. The breed is not for people who like silence, that's for sure. They will want to follow you around the house, expressing their opinion about everything, whether you ask for it or not. However, they probably become extremely active and demanding at night, and despite being able to play fetch or whatever they decide, they're unlikely to follow your instructions until they're in the mood. Now, I'm not giving these cats a super positive critique, but they do have some upsides if you can get past the more annoying aspects of their habits. They are undoubtedly beautiful, with their light coat, black mask, ears and paws. They have an elegant figure, and just looking at those stunning blue eyes, meowth. Number 13. The Japanese Bobtail. The legend of the Japanese bobtail dates back to Japan in the year 1600. It was during this time that an invasion of rodents threatened to exterminate the country's silkworm population. Thus, a royal decree was signed stating that all cats should be released into the wild to control the rodent population. It was discovered that this breed was especially good at hunting rats. Although the breed had been present in Japan since the 6th century, after this event, Japanese bobtails were highly revered as saviors of the country's silk production and became sacred icons. So, what's so great about this breed of cat? Well, it has a tail that looks like a rabbit's, making it cuter by default, right? Also, the Japanese bobtail is considered a lucky cat. That's right, this is the cat depicted in all those lucky cat statues with the waving arm that you might have seen in places related to Japan. It's also believed that the iconic Hello Kitty was based on this breed. In addition to all the obvious benefits of being considered a good luck charm, these cats are also quite friendly, within the standards of cats, of course, and get along well with everyone, if you believe their public image. Number 12. The Dwelf Cat. Oh my god, does anyone else feel a chill of discomfort when seeing these alien-looking creatures? The hairless Dwelf cat is definitely a different kind of animal. Whether it's a wrinkled sack of skin with pointy ears or the cutest thing you've ever seen in your life, there's probably no middle ground here. You either love it or hate it. The Dwelf is a bizarre combination of several different breeds, purposely designed, as improbable as it sounds, being actually a mix of Munchkin, American Curl, and Sphinx, given its short legs, curled ears, and overall baldness. With this mad scientist approach in the process, there is some controversy surrounding the breed. Some even claim that the breed is actually unethical, and it's true that selective breeding can cause serious health problems for animals. In the case of the unfortunate Dwelf, it will likely be skeletal issues, which is no joke, potentially causing pain and even reducing their lifespan. Oh, and they need to live indoors because they are super sensitive to temperatures and can also get sunburns. That's the whole problem of being bald. Number 11. The Napoleon. Also known by the prettier name Minuet cat, which, given its fluffy appearance and large, stunning blue eyes, may actually be a more fitting name than that of a former French general. These are small cats, which is good because so far we've had a mix of sizes on our list. They weigh between 2.3 to 4.1 kilograms and are a cross between Munchkin and Persian cats, and they supposedly inherited good traits from each breed. They are known for being playful, friendly, and affectionate, which is great news for anyone thinking about adopting one of these felines. Other inherited traits include the short legs of the Munchkin and, unfortunately, some health problems as well. In fact, it's very common for these animals to suffer from cataracts, and not just because they are cats. That's the name of the condition. All the puns are starting to hit me now. Number 10. The Scottish Fold. So here's a cat with a very round head. This breed has small, folded ears, which, combined with their large round eyes, give them a very distinctive face with a moon-like look. Roundness is the characteristic of this breed. In fact, since they start off so round, the official advice for Scottish fold cats is to take extra care to prevent them from becoming overweight, which they apparently tend to do. It turns out that cats with folded ears, like this breed, have been a trait among cats for centuries. The first recorded mention of one of these cats in the Western world was when an English sailor brought a folded ear cat from China in 1796. An unusual souvenir, perhaps, but on the other hand, it surely helped with rodent control aboard during the journey back home. However, the Scottish Fold itself is a relatively modern breed. Officially speaking, the standard was recognized in 1961 when a kitten named Susie was born with the unusual trait of folded ears, despite her parents having regular ears. It was such a big deal that poor Susie had to do a lot of breeding to produce many kittens with fancy ears. She is the original Scottish Fold cat, and all cats of this breed today can trace their lineage back to the grandmother of them all, Susie herself with her round face. Number 9. The Sphinx. Now, I apologize to all the Sphinx fans out there, but these cats really scare me. They all have alien-like shapes and are bald, for God's sake. I just can't understand it. Speaking of heads, they are triangular, with pronounced facial bones and widely spaced, alien-like eyes. These cats basically look exactly like all the representations of cats that the ancient Egyptians drew, all pointy, with long legs and elongated necks, except these are also bald, or almost bald. In fact, they have a very thin layer of fluffy fur that, if you look closely, can be seen all over their wrinkled skin, making them feel, or at least that's what I've heard, like they have a soft suede layer over their skin. The thing with the Sphinx is that they come in different colors and patterns, despite the idea that they are hairless. The markings and patterns appear on their skin, and the colors can vary greatly, from very light, if you imagine the wrinkled bald butt of Patrick Stewart, but stop imagining that, to a tortoiseshell effect or even stripes. And this bald cat gets oily if it doesn't take a weekly bath, so that's part of the fun if you decide that this little sack of wrinkles, kitty, is for you. Number 8. Bambino. Now we have another controversial feline that has been causing confusion for all the wrong reasons. The Bambino is such a new breed that, aside from the discomfort it's causing among cat enthusiasts, not much is known about these funny little creatures. The name Bambino is the Italian word for baby, and like a baby, this cat has short legs and no fur. But wait a minute, this is true, but it's not unique to babies for sure. And frankly, that's where the false similarities end. The only thing that happens in my head when I hear the word baby associated with one of these cats is more of a horror movie style scene, where there's a surreal and terrifying moment with a scare from a bald, angry-looking cat wearing a hat, sitting in a stroller, instead of a baby. Really horrible, but I digress. Let's find out what little is known about these controversial kittens. The first Bambino litter was registered in 2005, but since then, the breed has been growing in popularity, despite apparently attracting a group of loyal fans. This kind of breeding is considered cruel by many, as it's a deliberate manipulation of genetics to ensure that the anomalies are maintained across generations, which, when put like that, seems kind of twisted. After all, the problem with this kind of breeding is that, aside from the visible physical differences, there are a number of other issues that are not necessarily obvious immediately, but can cause many unpleasant health conditions for the poor animals throughout their lives. Number 7. The Oriental Cat. The Oriental cat, the elegant long-legged one, is a breed that is valued for its beauty and grace. The cat has all the sophisticated and pompous style, accompanied by a good dose of arrogant attitude. For a slim cat, this breed is extremely sleek. It is also known for having a long neck, long tail, and even an elongated face. These cats generally have piercing green eyes and can certainly give you a fierce look at any moment. The Oriental is a very intelligent cat and is usually chosen by owners who love to pamper and please their pets. These animals can be trained to walk on a leash, mainly so they can strut with all their style. But don't expect to train them to do much more than that. They could learn to do things, but they won't unless they decide they want to, and you know they won't. The Oriental has a very specific temperament and, in the end, you could interpret it as being somewhat sloth-like. Number 6. Javanese cat. This breed was created in the US and originally came from the crossbreeding of a Balinese cat and a short-haired color point cat. The short-haired color point cat was a cross between a Siamese and an American shorthair, so it's a sort of hybrid of a hybrid. However, these things often happen this way, and before you know it, there's a new breed waiting to be recognized. These cats seem to have kept many habits from their ancestors because they are quite noisy, just like their Siamese grandparents, so they won't be silent housemates. The Balinese breed is essentially a long-haired version of the Siamese, and since the Javanese is descended from a generation of Balinese and the following generation of Siamese, you can expect the resulting kittens to make quite a bit of noise at least. Of course, this is a matter of personal preference, but I would be investing in some good earplugs if I had to share space with one of these felines. Number 5. German Rex cat. The delicate and fine German Rex cat is quite light, but it has long legs, which can make this small cat appear much larger. However, it really isn't very big and always weighs less than 8 pounds. With a round head and super pointy ears, this breed has a rather unusual appearance. Add to that the curly fur, curled whiskers, and a variety of extraordinary colors, and you have a very special kind of cat. It is believed that shortly after the curly-coated Cornish Rex cat was registered in the UK, the German Rex also emerged in what was then East Germany. Suddenly, 2 curly-coated kittens were discovered, and the breeding of the German Rex began. Interestingly, although the cats were located behind the impenetrable Iron Curtain between the East and the West, and, frankly, Germany isn't even close to Cornwall, it seems that this was a spontaneous genetic mutation of a similar type, but in a completely unrelated location. Apparently, this type of surprise mutation is not uncommon in the world of cat breeding, but the timing of the 2 separate events was remarkably strange. This cat is still quite rare to this day, and even in Germany, to breed these animals, you can't use 2 curly-coated cats. In fact, it's necessary to combine a regular-coated cat with the dominant gene for curly fur so that their kittens come out cute and with curly hair. Number 4. Turkish Angora. This small fluffy cat is named after the city of Ankara in Turkey, which was once known as Angora. So before you raise your arms in horror, these cats are not being shaved to make adorable soft wool sweaters. In fact, Angora wool comes from innocent and angelic Angora rabbits, but that's a completely different story. Back to the feline furball, it was discovered that invading troops used to take unusual animals as souvenirs from the places they were conquering or visiting, or whatever they were doing there. It is believed that these Angora cats were exactly this type of souvenir for the Vikings, who picked them up somewhere along their trail of destruction and took them to Turkey. Thus, this breed has a long and interesting history, which may or may not have started with the Vikings and almost ended abruptly when the breed became very scarce. But it would be revived by a breeding program at the Ankara Zoo. They were only brought to the US in 1954 and eventually recognized as a breed in the 1960s. So, would you like to have one of these Turkish Angoras as a pet? Well, they are beautiful to look at, and that's one of the first things that attracts people to the breed. But are they unpleasant? Well, aside from the fact that they're cats, maybe they're planning to kill you, but basically, they're okay. After all that, the Angora is quite agile and athletic. They love climbing, can open doors, and are very smart. But as long as you stay on their good side, you can probably expect them to set aside their homicidal intentions. At least, that's what you'd hope for, right? Number 3. Somali cat. This is a furry breed with large eyes and long fur. It also has tufts of hair on its ears, giving it a distinctive and charming appearance. Since the Somali cat has a lot of fur, it requires a lot of care to maintain its elegant look. It turns out that the Somali cat is essentially the same as the Abyssinian cat, but with long fur. In fact, that's how it became a distinct breed. Some Abyssinian kittens started being born with long fur, which apparently was not a highly desired trait. The fluffier ones ended up being kept as pets rather than participating in breeding competitions. competitions. Over time, they gained fans, and by the 1960s, there were so many admirers of the long-haired Abyssinians that breeders decided to deliberately develop this variation, giving rise to the Somali cat. If you are also a fan of the Somali, you can expect a social, playful cat that loves to jump to high places. But this may be true for many breeds, as feline instincts lead them to seek elevated spots to observe their surroundings and protect themselves from other animals, just like leopards do in nature. Number 2. Skookum Cat Well. Here's another cat with those short, stubby legs. Who would have thought you could make so much of a munchkin? Given the skookum's leg length, you'd probably guess that the great-grandparent of this breed was indeed a munchkin, and its grandmother was a leperm, a small breed with curly fur. But some brilliant mind thought that everything would look much cuter if these specific genetic traits were combined into a single, adorable package. And that's how the skookum was born. Does anyone else find this genetic manipulation a bit unsettling, even just a little? Skookums were only developed in the 1990s in the United States, and they are still quite rare. Their main distinguishing feature is their small size, which seems to be what some people most seek in a cat. There is a constant search for a kind of permanent kitten, a Peter Pan of felines, to keep their human owners entertained and charmed by their diminutive size and playful behavior. And with this miniature breed, they've come pretty close to that. Number 1. The Minskin. Here we have another wrinkled, almost hairless feline. Who needs fur these days after all? That's so last season. With large, bulging eyes, rounded heads, and a sort of peach fuzz on their bodies, these cats also belong to the Munchkin Club when it comes to legs. Their hind legs are still slightly longer than their front legs. Honestly, is there any breed that hasn't been touched by Munchkin just for the charm of the short legs? This is getting a bit strange. What's the obsession with creating the most hairless, short, and big-eyed cat possible? And is this somehow healthy or pleasant for the animal itself? What do you think about all this artificial selection? Leave your opinion in the comments. Even the name Minskin comes from the combination of the words miniature and skin. The breed itself is an unconventional mix of a Sphynx and a Munchkin, with a touch of Burmese and Devon Rex added later, just for variety. Thank you so much for watching the video. If you enjoyed our content, subscribe to our channel and leave a like. Also, check out other interesting content that is appearing on your screen right now, and I'll see you in the next video. See you next time.